This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Welcome to the Spirit Sessions podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us, where I'll help you find your true spiritual home, where every single aspect of you is holy ground. Holy ground.
This is a journey into sound.
This is a Spirit Session podcast with Katie Silcox. Venga chicos, empezamos.
Hey there, beautiful. So I just want to ask you a really important question. What are you going to do with this one sacred and precious life? Because here's what I know. I know that the listeners of our podcast are spirit seekers. And if you're anything like me, you may sometimes feel more than a little bit bummed out and astounded even by the state of the world today. It can be super disheartening to read the mainstream news and be told that there is no cause for hope and no future to delight in. And you know what? I call bullshit on that. You see, we really do live in polarized times. And so much of what we talk about here in this podcast and in Shakti School is what the brain does when it's polarized. It's the opposite of healing. It actually causes inflammation to live in that fight, flight, freeze, polarized state of us versus them. But I personally really do understand the feeling of being stuck and being anxious about the state of the world and even the state of our lives. You may feel like your life is not turning out the way you envisioned. And some of you who are listening to me today may feel like, oh, you know what? My life looks like everything is going great on the outside, but on the inside, it's a totally different story. In my experience of working with literally thousands of women all over the world, I have found that every single one of you out there wants the same thing. You want to feel more fulfilled, more joyful, more alive, more creative, more self-empowered, and more connected. And perhaps most importantly, what I've seen is that women want to feel like they belong to themselves. They want to feel like they belong to themselves and they can connect with a community and make authentic connections. But what I also see is there's a deep missing link that is keeping us from this longing. We know we want personal and collective empowerment, but we're not sure how we can get there. And I'm not talking about Pollyanna, only love and light type self-helpy spirituality stuff. I am not talking about just taking a yoga class or, saying some positive affirmations and lighting some incense and maybe doing a moontime ritual and thinking that everything's going to turn out okay. I'm talking about something a lot deeper and a lot richer. I'm talking about the best of ancient mysticism meeting modern neuroscience. I'm talking about the best of folk medicine meeting and, yes, appreciating modern Western allopathic and functional medicine. I'm talking about smart people who have massive hearts. That is what we are doing over here at Shakti School. It is the opposite of polarizing. It is unifying. And after all, from everything I've studied, that still is the meaning of the word yoga. I believe that every single human being on this planet is longing for the same thing. We all want to feel real. We want a direct line to something beautiful and infinite. We can call it God. We can call it the universe. I mean, hell, you guys can call it the great universal cosmic crystal yoni palace. You can call it what you want. And it's what we're all wanting. And you may be thinking, yeah, but not everybody wants that, Katie. What are you talking about? And I'm saying to you, yes, they do. Every time we overeat, every time we binge on alcohol, every time we do drugs, every time we watch porn, whatever, overshop, freaking get in a fight with someone on Instagram. Every time we do that, it is just a covering over a deeper longing to know that infinite love. The bottom line is that we all want the incredible confidence and empowerment that comes from knowing exactly who we are and what our personal soul DNA is and what we were made to do on this planet. And we need the tools and practices and support to be able to manifest that purpose in the world. Guys, without tools, and without that personal divine connection, I don't care how much money you have, how powerful you are in the world, how many supplements you've taken, how many G-spot multiple orgasms you've achieved, how many sauna ice baths you've dunked yourself into. Without spirit, life is going to be really difficult and a hell of a lot less fun. In my opinion, the people that are going to not only survive, but deeply thrive on the planet in the next few years are the people who are not building themselves up on sinking sands, the sinking sands of our modern culture, but who are solidifying themselves into an enduring force of love and power. When you have that kind of connection to your own soul's mission and a spiritual force on your side, there's literally, I don't think there's anything you can't accomplish. When you have a connection to your realest self, your truest purpose, and that spirit that lives inside of all of us, guess what? You become a lightning rod for attracting the right people and circumstances into your life to fulfill that mission. And you become a lightning rod for being able to transmit and channel a higher purpose into the world. You become a lightning rod for creativity. Guys, that means you can supercharge your business. You can finally write that book you've been holding back on. You can better your health. You can invent a world-changing technology. You can create beautiful art, become a better lover, and become a better parent to your kids. Your confidence to speak your highest truth and stand in your conviction as your best, most loving, courageous version of yourself is really what it's about. I want a powerful tribe of lionesses prowling this planet. And it doesn't matter if you work at the drive-thru at McDonald's, which, by the way, we have women through our scholarship program that have done that. Or if you are the CEO of some company and work in a high-rise in New York City, we have those women in our course as well. But both of those women need a system. We need a method. We all need a science-backed way of altering our brain and healing our hearts. We need a course of instruction that's going to take us from point A to point B, where we go from feeling afraid and powerless to feeling courageous and supported and seen and wanted. And that's exactly why I created this school, Shakti School, and why I created Ayurveda School Level 1. This course offers you a structured system backed by thousands of years of research and a team of over 15 expert teachers and staff who are going to make you laugh and cry and will stimulate your mind and your energy body more than any other course on this planet, and I stand behind that. You will learn my own translation of feminine form, mystical Ayurvedic medicine that will tap into something your intuition already knows, and that is that you, dear listener, know how to heal yourself. And it all starts with love and compassion. In this course, yes, we go into the basics of the Ayurveda worldview, but it doesn't stop there. You will learn conscious self-sovereign sexuality, herbology, moon rituals, astrology, mantra, yoga for your doshas, goddess manifestation and empowerment, somatic trauma release, nervous system healing, Ayurveda for women's issues, fertility, postpartum, and menopause, as well as my signature approach to holistic medicine that understands that we are not just our imbalances and our diseases. We are spiritual beings here on earth to learn who the heck we are. And that's just a short list of what we are going to be doing over here in 2022 Level 1. In this course, you are going to get all the practical tools you need to up-level your life and supercharge your dreams. I guarantee that you will go from being a spiritual wolf howling alone, perhaps in the darkness, to a member of a community who can hold one another in conscious support. You will learn what exactly is blocking your light and your success, and you will release your patterns of self-sabotage. You will get the tools that you need to navigate this upcoming year so that even the challenges that we are all going to face, they are going to become the seeds of our new potential. You will go from living a life of pain that pushes you to a future vision that pulls you. Ayurveda School Level 1 is unlike any other online course. And it's not because there aren't other amazing Ayurveda schools out there, because there are. But we are different because this is feminine form Ayurveda. It is a mystical healing path that not only bows and honors the ancient rules and technologies of India Ayurveda, but also offers a universal medicine-centered approach that defies time, geography, and ethnic background. It's a system that allows women to unfold their healing from within their own intuitive heart. Here at their school, there are no gurus. There's just a safe, healing, fun, inspiring, intellectually rich, emotionally intelligent place for you to awaken the guru within. And this isn't just my lofty opinion about my own baby. We literally receive daily testimonials from our students that make me and my staff, at least me, weep with joy. Like this one, I just got this one from a current level 1. It says, Katie, thank you for changing my entire life with your school. I've cried so many happy and healing tears, so much compassion and endless laughs with you throughout the year. And on top of that, all that wisdom. I must say, when I signed up for Shakti School, it was very intuitive as I made a last minute decision with no experience of Ayurveda before, but I knew in my heart it would be magic. And I actually had no idea how much depth and realness these teachings would give me. And I'm realizing this is mainly because you've been our teacher and guide delivering this medicine in a very unique way. I hope to meet you in person and give you a hug and thank you, as you are such an important person in my own healing and soul's mission. Lots of love from a very grateful student. And I hope I meet you too in person and you know who you are. And that's just one of hundreds of students that have sent us their praise. But here's the thing, guys, and this is important. We only run this course once a year. It's a year-long program because we are committed to doing it live. We've done it now for 4 years, and we could easily make it a recorded course that would run all the time, be a lot less money, a lot less effort, but I feel like that would take away from the incredible energy that comes from all of us being together in a container throughout the year. And whether you're with us during the live class or you're watching it later as you're making dinner for your kids or taking a walk through the woods, there is a real container that we create in 2022. All right, guys, so it starts this January 12th, and we would absolutely love to have you. And yes, this is absolutely a course for people who want to add a money-making potential to their lives as a certified Ayurveda health coach. But it's also for any woman who just wants to take this for herself. We've had many students go on to become Ayurveda wellness coaches. They are incredible. They are inspiring me. They have, helped hundreds and thousands of people, but they've started podcasts. I've been lucky enough to write the foreword to several of my students' books. I love watching my students succeed and hopefully one day even go above and beyond what we're creating here. So it's here for you guys. We are here for you. And I hope we will see your shining face. I hope I get to meet you in school in 2022. And lastly, I have 4 amazing women supporting these efforts. We've got Sarah, Malia, Takesha, and Lindsay, and they have all taken this full course. So if you want to set up a coaching call with them to talk about the course and see if it's a good fit for you, the link to connect with them is in the show notes. You can also head over to theshaktischool.com, hit the Ayurveda link for all the information and an overview, a complete overview of the syllabus
Hi,
for
everybody. It's great
2022.
to
You can also
see
write my
some of
staff
you, new
anytime. We're at
faces and old friends from long ago.
All right, beauty, thank you so much for listening, and may 2022 be a remarkable year for all of us.
And I am the founder and lead teacher here at the Shakti School. As many of you know, we have a central program called Ayurveda School that starts really soon, and we're getting really excited about that. And today we are going to talk about what I think is probably the most important thing we could ever talk about, which is our connection to spirit. So before we dive into that, just a little bit of how it will go this morning. For me, it's the morning. I'm in Hawaii. I know for many of you, it's afternoon. And what we'll do is we'll take a moment to do a short practice just to kick things off. And then I want to give kind of a frame around where what I'll be presenting comes from and some of the ways it's been inspired. And then at the end of the call, we're going to have time. If any of you have any questions about Ayurveda School, I know some of you are here because you're interested in joining us in January 12th. Sarah is going to be here and she will answer any of your questions. So I'm not going to take a lot of questions during the lecture. And so just a reminder to kind of keep any questions for the end with Sarah so we can all really enter into the experience together. I think Sarah will probably turn off the chat while we do that. And then at the end, we'll turn that back on so you guys can have a voice and be here with us. So we'll do a little bit of a frame and a little bit of a lecture overview, and then we're going to do a practice together. And at the end of this call, we will be sending you guys a PDF of the steps that we went through during the practice. And that's really intentional. It's so you don't have to take notes. I know some of you out there are note takers, and some of you out there love a list, and some of you out there are teachers. And you're like, oh my God, I totally want to share this. And you're more than free to share this. But I wanted to give you all that I know so many of you hold so much space for so many people. You don't have to do that today. I'm going to hold you, and you're going to hold you, and you don't have to take notes. During the lecture, feel free to take as many notes as you want to, but during the practice, you're going to get that outline. So you can really just rest and go somewhere and go nowhere, right? So that's kind of the frame for this morning, and we'll kind of just begin. And so what I like to remind students when we start Ayurveda School is this moment. You know, it's a free webinar. Maybe you heard about this from the internet and you've never met me before, and maybe you've been my student for many, many years, but this moment, despite being a free webinar that you may have found on the internet, has everything that is required and needed for you to heal your heart. The beauty of the teachings is that at any given moment, we can turn towards the divine. And so just take a moment to clear away, maybe close down any other windows you have open, make sure your phone's off if you can, so that you can have whatever you need to be really comfortable and in this moment as a sacred ritual. What makes a moment sacred is just, and really a ritual, is our heart. Just take a moment to tune your attention to the inner world, the landscape that you bring in. There may be thoughts, there may be emotions, there may be physical experience of pain or pleasure. You may feel energy, you may feel the presence of angels. All of that is welcome. Just take a moment to really begin to cultivate the spirit of non-judgment around the inner landscape. And as you're with yourself today in this webinar, when you turn towards yourself, you may notice discomfort. Maybe you don't even like what you see when you turn towards yourself sometimes, and just let that all be held as well. There's no right or wrong when we investigate just the truth of our experience. I'm going to begin this sacred time January 2nd as we here at Shakti School officially kick off this year of 2022. I'm going to invoke this moment, and you can pray a prayer with me. You can pray a prayer of your own heart. You can simply breathe and listen. Into this space, we invite any healing elements that would like to participate with us, gods, goddesses, ancestor realm, spirit realm. Please be here with us. Those of you that help and work towards our highest and best, please be here with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great Mother, Mother Earth, Pachamama, Mama Gaia, thank you so much for being this infinite realm of the earth and water element. Thank you so much for your air and fire, for the spaciousness you bring into our lives. Great Mother, Mother of us all, and to whom we will eventually return. Thank you for being this constant source of ever-present nourishment. Thank you for your lessons, for your fierceness, for your beauty. Thank you so much. Natural realm, great Prakriti. Holy Father, sky above, thank you so much for your infinite mercy. Thank you so much for your infinite capacity to forgive over and over and over again. Great infinite realm of mind, limitless love, limitless consciousness. Holy Father, thank you for your eternal permanence in our lives. And feel your attention up and down, Mother and Father. To my right, great brothers of the spirit realm, those of you that are contributing to this group and the whole planet's highest and best, we invite you to be by our side, walk with us, show us your wisdom. Go ahead of us and protect us. Great brothers, angel realm of the left side, feel you can invite in this holy protection. Thank you, thank you. Friends in the front of me, feel that you can tune your attention to this realm of the horizontal reality, you and your brother, your sister, your best friend, your mother, your father. Feel that realm of our community out in front of us. Feel that horizontal realm being opened and healed. And we invite in the beings into our life that will contribute to the highest and best. Feel your awareness to the back of us. We invite in that, again, sacred support. Feel that you can tune to the back of your body as far back as we can go. Great Spirit, thank you for being this ever-present pillow of consciousness that we can lay our weary heads into. And just sense any other sacred prayer that wants to come through as we initiate this year together. Good, and when you're ready, you can slowly start to open your eyes. And so now I feel like I'm a little more here. I hope you do too, a little more present. So some of you are new, some of you are not. Those of you that are new, I want to again welcome you and just tell you very briefly about me. My name is Katie. I grew up in the American South. I grew up on the border of Bristol, Virginia and Bristol, Tennessee. I grew up Southern Baptist, grew up Christian, had a very interesting journey with that, and I ended up kind of turning away from that wholeheartedly and beginning to study yoga and Ayurveda with a lot of passion and fervor. I moved to India in my 20s and lived there for 6 months. I studied with A.G. and Indra Mohan, who were Krishnamacharya's direct students. So some of you will recognize that name. Krishnamacharya is the father of many of the great yoga teachers that inform the lineages that we hold near and dear in the United States and all across the world. And then I began to study Tantra. I was in the Sri Vidya lineage for almost a decade, studying within a tantric form of yoga. And recently began to study Christian Gnosticism, mysticism, perennial philosophies of mysticism, Western magic, and most importantly, the capacity that our bodies have to release trauma through the nervous system. And the past specifically 3 or 4 years, my entire practice has been dedicated to understanding my own nervous system, how the body stores trauma, and understanding how the ancient teachings were an iteration of now what modern science is revealing through trauma methodology release. And really cross comparing those two and finding a lot of the similarities and differences, and working to bridge and be a translator between ancient mysticism and ancient enlightenment practices and ancient medicine and modern neuropsychology, modern psychology, and modern medicine. And really looking what are the most helpful, useful, elegant, and efficient aspects of what the ancients offer us today, and what needs to maybe not be used and maybe even needs to be updated and evolved. And what is the most useful and beautiful and elegant and efficient aspects of modern neuroscience, physiology, psychology, biology, and allopathic medicine, and how can those two kind of come together in what really is the goal, I think, for all of us, which is to feel really good. When we feel really good, it's a much higher likelihood that we're going to be able to do our spiritual practice. Now, that said, many of us, including myself, have found God from hospital beds and, nervous breakdowns, prison cells. That's not one I've experienced in this lifetime yet. I hope I don't, which is a prison cell. But it's not to say that we need to feel perfect and feel good to find the divine, right? But it certainly is helpful. And that really is the spirit of the entirety of Ayurveda. Ayurveda forms one of, if not the central cornerstone of what we do here at Shakti School. And Ayurveda is just the science of life and understanding how nature behaves and understanding everything from the subtlety of your mind, which is vast and super mysterious, to the density of, the rocks outside of here, which it looks almost like I'm at Disney World and that's like a fake setup, but those are actual rocks. Before, this is like supposed to be an hour-long experience together. It may be an hour, it may be an hour and 15. I don't know. I'm not sure. But what I want to say before we go into this huge topic, which is how can I more deeply connect to my spiritual life, to just kind of couch it and frame it in a way that brings it home for me and hopefully for you. I created the Shakti School. We're a year-long, we're actually a 2-year program that you can do 1 year and then continue in the second year if you'd like. But I knew that I needed a year with people, at least, to be able to actually download the basics of this practice, which is not just Ayurveda, it's how to awaken our spirit. And so all that to say, this is a really vast topic, and I sit before you with a lot of humility before that. But one of the things that I feel that I'm called to do is to distill things into usable, sometimes bite-sized information so we can digest it. And so really the essence of why I'm here this morning and why I hope you are here and why I think I'm maybe even on the planet is I want to feel more free. I want to feel more free of the things that are really tough for me. I want to feel more free from the emotions that I have and from the thoughts that I have and from what's going on in my body and what I grew up with my parents and their parents and their parents. I want to feel more free of the society that I live in and the government that I have and the all these cultural things that are a part of my story that I can also celebrate. But I want to be free. And I also want to be more me. I want to be more authentic, and I want to sit before you guys just the realest Katie that I can possibly bring to you. So I want to be authentic, and I want to live my life from a place of wholeheartedness. So if you resonate with any of that, of wanting to be free from all the bullshit and the limitations in your life and the stuff, the places where you continually get stuck over and over and over again, if you want to be free from that, or at least more free, and you want to feel like you're more you, and you want to live your freaking life and have a great time and be wholehearted and do great things in the world, because you all have a purpose, and so do I. If any of that resonates with you, then you're in the right place right now. One of my favorite teachers, I'm sure it's one of yours for many of you, is Brene Brown, and she defines wholeheartedness as engaging with the world from a place of your worthiness. You know, I wrote a second book that I wrote 3 books, and this isn't a brag. It's to say my second book I never put out in the world. It's just sitting on a shelf because I think I'm still a little too scared. Maybe it'll happen, right? But the second book that I wrote, the title of that book is Worthy. I feel like the sense of our lack of being worthy is the root of so many of our issues. So what having a spiritual practice should be doing, if we're doing it well, is continually reminding you of how worthy you are of love and belonging. All of you here, including this girl, have imperfections. If you think that you don't, that may be the greatest imperfection of all. I'm sure all of you know you have imperfections, and we all make mistakes. And in my experience, the experience of being enlightened or awakened or enheartened or free or a Buddha, whatever you want to call it, isn't that you become perfect, because actually the physiology of our body is never perfect. You're always going to have some imbalances. When we look at healthy biophysiology, the way the body moves, it's actually never symmetrical. Now, I don't recommend you doing this, but if you open up a cadaver, when you look inside the body, it looks absolutely nothing like the things you've been shown in your biology book in high school. It looks absolutely nothing like the skeletons you see in your yoga teacher training. The bodies look completely different. Some people's liver is up here. Some people, well, that's actually the wrong side. That would be unfortunate, right? So we all have these complete distinctions in the symmetry of our body. But what's really interesting is your body goes into its greatest symmetry. Guess when? Rigor mortis, when you are dead. That's when your body becomes really symmetrical. And so it's like a way of saying, like, our imperfection, our imbalances, our asymmetry is the thing that makes us human and alive. My mama used to say, ain't nobody perfect till they go to Jesus. You know, it's like we're here to be imperfect beings. So our spiritual practice should not be making us perfect or even happy all of the time. It should be enabling us to be able to hold more and more space, to be able to tolerate every single aspect of who we are. And not just tolerate, but to deeply be with, like a mother can be with a child in her best moments. So I really feel like sitting before you guys here today, 2022, this is the synthesis of everything that I've been working on and studying for the past 20 years with a lot of fervor. And the reason that I have a lot of passion and fervor, Layla Gilman, I see you. She's like, I've known that girl forever. It's because I've had a lot of pain and suffering. You know, Gary Kraussel used to say, the best students are the ones who are in the most pain. And so I just want to nod to that if you're here and you've got a lot of heartbreak or a lot of physical pain, or you're like, oh my God, I have so much family drama and trauma, you're in the right place. Like that is, you know, the spirituality world attracts the weird, the wonderful, and the wounded, right? And so We're here to really get some traction today to start the year off right with some structure around how to approach spirit. The yogic teachings say, actually, there's nothing to find. The thing is already in you. It already is you. There's just some layers getting in the way of being able to experience who we really are. And what the tradition that I've studied, and now I'm studying everything, right? I want to know what is the essence or the juice or the sap or the life force of every mystical tradition. And they're not all the same. But one of the things that I've seen that most of them have in common is an understanding that the underlying nature of reality is benign, to say the least. And as the Sri Vidya says, it's way more than that. The underlying nature of not just nature, but you and me is an unending wave of goodness, bliss, mercy, compassion, emptiness that's also full, fullness that's also empty. Now, I don't know about you, but when my alarm clock goes off in the morning, the first thought and feeling that I have is not, oh my God, I'm the unending bliss of the universe. Can you believe it, guys? Like, it's not. It's like a lot of the same thoughts I had yesterday. And so that's why I get up and I do this practice that I'm going to share with you guys. This practice that I'm giving you today is exactly what I do. Exactly. Right? And so here we go. So so if you come to Ayurveda School January 12th, we're going to go through the Vedic and Tantric understanding of reality. So y'all should join. If you're not coming, what is up? Get your booty in there. By the way, we just made a 24-month payment plan. So now it's like pretty good, pretty cheap. But what I want to do today is something different and something special that we'll integrate into Ayurveda School next year. But because we have this big mama of a school that really does nod a lot to the Tantric and Hindu philosophy, I want to give you a different approach to the exact same message. And this approach, I'm going to share the screen. Give me 1 second, you guys. This approach comes from an amazing psychotherapist. I believe he's trained as a psychotherapist, but who has deeply studied Buddhism and maybe many other things. And it's Dr. Dan Siegel. And I think you guys can see that now. Maybe Sophia, you're in the front row. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see that image? Thanks. This is his wheel of awareness. This is, and we could use a number of different approaches because, so let me say this. I'm a big fan of giving credit where credit's due. And, this is Dr. Dan Siegel's interpretation of it. But what I keep seeing over and over and over again is all these very brilliant men coming up with these new models. and I love it, right? And women, but it's mostly men. And these models are attempting to explain the goddess. And guess what? The goddess, she does not like to be explained. And if you're a goddess out there, you know what I mean. It's like, if you put me in a box, I'm going to burn your box to the ground. The other thing I want to mention is that the goddess is always evolving. Well, this is the law of the universe, right? Well, guess what? The goddess is continually changing. And yet there are some patterns that we know exist in nature. There are patterns that exist in the mind. There are patterns to being a human. And that is super helpful. And it's super helpful to have a framework and boxes to be able to understand the infinite, which has no box. So nothing we do at Shakti School is the truth, because the only truth is reality unfolding in this moment, in the lived experience. That's it. But these boxes can be very helpful when you are, dealing with pain and suffering, dealing with our own mind, or maybe it's not even pain and suffering, just dealing with our sense of human limitations. So I love this by Dr. Dan Siegel, because it's super similar to what 2,500 years ago, and some say 5,000 years ago, the ancients called Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya is the mother of Ayurveda and yoga, for those of you out there that do yoga and meditation, and some say the mother of Buddhism as well. So all of these Eastern traditions emerged from Sankhya. And Sankhya says something very similar to this Dr. Dan Siegel wheel. So let's look at it for a second. And we don't need to go into the depths of all of it for today. But here at the center, you have something called the hub. And it's a wheel. And you can think of a bicycle wheel. And then you have the spokes of the wheel. The ancients call this Purusha. Purusha means the part of you that is steady and still within the batshit crazy New York City of your experience. So he calls it the hub, and he gives some nice qualifiers to the hub, which it's a little small, but it says clear, awake, open, peaceful, calm, and receptive. I might add a few more to that because I'm a little bit of a goddess, and I might add love. I might add compassion. I might add belonging. Right? But the point is, you all know when you're clear, aware, open, peaceful, calm, receptive, and loving, you know it. And you do good stuff. You have good responses to people instead of reactions. And we will go in, if you join January 12th, we will go into the brain science around what actually happens in your brain when you're in these states, and inevitably you come out of this state. So you've got this core essence, you all, and what's so cool and what makes me feel so connected to all of you, despite many of you being total strangers, is that your hub and my hub are the same hub. And the hub is just getting to express itself through infinite different characteristics. And that's what makes all of us really fun and unique and weird and wounded and wonderful, right? It's all getting to express. But the light in me is the light in you. That's the meaning of Namaste. So this is the hub. And as we practice in a moment, we're going to become more and more connected to that, and connected to it as the place from which we extract our identification. In other words, when we say I, that is who we will be talking about. Now, just like a wheel, you have all these other aspects, but the hub is the real you. And it's not that the real you isn't all of these other things. The hub has spokes, and the spokes are attached to the wheel, and they're also attached to the core. But without the hub, the spokes are kind of useless. And if you try to imagine riding a bicycle with no hub and only spokes, it's not going to be very fun, right? It's going to be very chaotic. But if you try to imagine riding a bicycle without the spokes, what would happen? We would just all be hubs sitting on the ground. In other words, there would be no life. There would be no play. We wouldn't be going anywhere. Well, the ancient teachings say the same thing. They describe this as Shiva and Shakti. Shakti is the spokes, Shiva is the hub. And that what the teachings say is that Shiva, you can imagine this like beautiful divine masculine, is this endless ground of mind, this aware, open, peaceful, calm, receptive, clear being. And we'll go into it more when you guys come in January, if you come, but there's a whole love story about how Shiva and Shakti relate to one another. Shakti without Shiva, well, let me start with Shiva. Shiva, your hub, Shiva without Shakti is dead. He cannot even move, the teachings say. And so if we think of this bicycle, it can't go anywhere without the spokes. But Shakti without Shiva is just crazy, right? And maybe that's not the right word to use, but she's chaotic, she's unbound, she's unbridled. And this has nothing to do with being a man or a woman. right? I'm going to bring myself back in, and we're going to go into the hub more when you come in January to Shakti School Ayurveda Level 1. But we're going to use this idea of the hub and the periphery, Shiva and Shakti, your original true self, and the endless expression and the wildness and the beauty and the uniqueness of who you are, how we can actually begin to heal that relationship. This has nothing to do with men and women. We all have both of these polarities of yin and yang and masculine and feminine inside of us. When we over-identify with one, we have trouble. If we become over-identified with the spokes of the wheel, our life and our reactions become chaotic. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I give the example of like, do you know what it feels like to be that day right before your period? Or maybe we have some men in the room today because we opened it up to everyone, but they know. There's a sense of like the goddess is going to eat me, right? That's that, or maybe you've had a moment where you've been super reactive with your kids. And it's just like, it almost takes you off guard. This is that chaos. Or we can go too far in the other direction where we could argue it's not the real hub, right? It's rigidity, it's immobility. And so what we want to do through our practice is activate the true hub and activate the true movement of energy and life force in your life that is divinely inspired. And when you get that, magic starts to happen. So if you find yourself in rigidity or chaos, right, it's okay. Welcome to being a human. But this practice is really going to help us begin to use the wildness of the feminine. And let's talk for a moment about what that is. Again, this has nothing to do with being a man or a woman. One might argue that our culture allows women to have more of a spectrum of emotions, but not all of them. And our culture invites men to move more into rigidity. Nothing's wrong with me, everything's fine, right? You may do those things as well. But what is this feminine? When we sit down to meditate, and again, we could talk about this in a number of different ways, but let me give you one perspective. When you sit down to meditate, you have what Steve Hoskinson refers to as the isoma, I-S-O-M-A. When you sit down to meditate, you have isoma, I-S-O-M-A. Let's go through what those are. You sit down to meditate, what starts to happen? Images. Images start to come into your mind. What happened to you last week? What happened to you when you were a baby? What happened? What might happen in the future? We go into the realm of imagination, right? We go into the realm of rumination and worry. And many of us can do this through images. What else? We have the capacity when we sit down to orient our body. We can feel the fabric of our pants on our skin. We can feel what it feels like to be inside the room that we're in. Today I'm in Hawaii. It's been raining nonstop for like 3 days, and there's literally water everywhere, right? And so as I sit to meditate, I might notice there's just this sort of wetness in the air. We can sense distance, right? I can feel that I'm from here to there. This is our innate capacity as animals to orient ourselves to the room that we're in, but also to our own inner reality. I can feel that my shoulder blade is right here on my back. And if I can't feel where my bones are, we call that a problem, right? We call that numbness or the nervous system state of freeze. So what else? We have meaning. And the ancients called this chitta, or mind. One aspect of the mind is the part of your mind that makes up stories. Anybody out there do that? Well, this means this. Have you ever been like, well, that definitely means this? And then you got more information and you're like, that totally didn't mean that. again, to continue quoting the amazing Brene Brown, she has come up with this great phrase. She's such a modern tantric yogini. She says, the story that I'm telling myself about this is fill in the blank. And it's a great thing if you have a boyfriend or a husband or a girlfriend, a partner, or any family member. Hey, sweetie, so when you don't unload the dishwasher, the story that I'm telling myself about this is that you freaking hate me and don't care, blah, 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 right? And then the guy's like, well, no, and so the story that I'm telling myself about this is this meaning channel. ISOM, ISOM. Now we're at A. A stands for affect. Affect is emotion. How many of you sit down to meditate and you're like, no thanks, ew, I'm feeling this feeling, I don't want to, so guess what? Just let me check Instagram or the news one more time, or my email, or whatever you online shop. I don't know what you guys do. Those may or may not be what I go to. Affect is at the emotional realm. And the last one, ISOMA. I skipped the S. The S stands for sensation. So when we sit down, we can feel all the different myriad sensations in our body. I feel cool, I feel hot, I feel tingling, I feel open, I feel etc. There's many, many, many. Your body has 19 different proprioceptive senses to be able to use the nervous system to feel and experience these senses. Now, what's interesting is when we feel a sensation, and then what do? We give it a meaning, right? And so not only do you have all these spokes, but these spokes communicate with another and overlap and constellate. In other words, we're a big hot mess. Seriously. And so we're a big, hot, beautiful mess. And so that's why this practice called yoga, called enlightenment, called prayer, called devotion, called worship, called breath work, mantra, mudra, yantra, sexual tantra, therapy. You can fill in the blank, a really good jog that ends in a cry. These cathartic experiences of drumming and dancing and breathing and taking plant medicine all have existed to do one thing, and that is pour the true light of who we are into the tangled experience of who we are. You have chosen to be born with front row seats to Kali Yuga, which is the age of, one could say, darkness. Confusion. Darkness isn't bad. It's just, what should I believe? Who's telling me the truth? Is anybody trustworthy? Should I watch Fox News? Should I watch the New York Times? Should I watch the Atlantic? Should I trust this doctor? Should I trust that doctor? Should I trust my priest? Should I trust my professor? Should I trust Hollywood? Should I trust my mom and dad? Can I trust my husband? Ooh, some of y'all got some real faces just now. Katie got real just now. It's in the field. And let me tell you guys, what the teachings say from thousands of years ago, it blows my mind, the wisdom of our ancestors. And it wasn't just the Indians who we love and bow before. Thank you. But it was many of our ancestors. And they said, Kali Yuga is also the time when there is the most capacity to experience the light. The only real light that matters, and the only real light we can really trust, is inside of our heart. When you can trust everybody in your tribe And you can trust every priest, and you can trust every pharmaceutical doctor, lawyer, judge, politician, parent. When you can trust everybody, things are really amazing. Can you imagine if we had that? We don't seek God when life is paradise already. There are beautiful stories from not only the Hindu tradition, but the Greek and Roman tradition about what jerks human beings are when paradise is easy and everything feels good and you're getting chocolate and bonbons and money and orgasms left, right, and center, right? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Like, things are going good. That's when I'm on my knees praying, because I'm like, any moment it's gonna just shift, right? But typically when things are good, we don't really seek out the divine. The most common prayer to God on the planet is help me. You know, I know I've made a lot of deals with God. Oh, if you'll just get me out of this situation, I promise I'll do my practice for an hour every morning. You know? So I hope that what we do in a moment is going to bring you a little bit of a structure for that connection with you. Lastly, before we do the practice, I just want to say that I'm a big fan of spiritual sovereignty. There are as many paths to God as there are beings on the planet. At Shakti School, we are not a religious institution. We are not affiliated with any particular religion or even philosophy. I love yoga and Ayurveda, but I love many different traditions, and we bring all of them into this field. We've got about 20 teachers that teach with us, and they're of different religious backgrounds, they're of different races, they're of different ages, they're of different political orientations, believe it or not, and we really want you all to feel that you belong here and that this place can be a home for people, because what really is the one requirement to be a part of our school is respect and compassion. And that's what I try to hold as the central motivating factor here. The other one is the parasympathetic nervous system, because rest and digest is the medicine of our time. So we prioritize that part of the nervous system just because the activated nervous system is what many of us get most of the other time. Well, I don't mean to say that, but in at least in the zeitgeist of culture. So without further ado, let's do this practice. And I want to, one more caveat before we go into it. I mentioned this non-denominational, non-formalized religious, but I want to go to the word religion and yoga before we practice. I think one of my passions is really getting granular around Sanskrit and, the etymology of Latin and Greek and Aramaic and these words that many men and women have been using to explain spirit for thousands of years. It's important to know the meaning of those original words, because then humans take those words and they mess with them and they make crazy stuff. And so, I hear people say all the time, I'm not religious, I just do yoga. Or, and I want to just say that the meaning of the word yoga, there are many. You may have heard union, right? What am I uniting to? That's a big question, right? We could go into, and that's why we have a long program to talk about it. But essentially, it's the hub. Another meaning of the word yoga is to make that which is unconscious conscious. It's a very Jungian meaning. So everybody's like, yeah, yoga, right? Because I don't want anything to do with religion. But the word religion comes from the word religio, which means, I missed the most important point. The word yoga doesn't mean union. It means to yoke. It's a horse and buggy term where if you ever have seen those old horse and buggies, you link the horse to the buggy with a yoga. With a yoga. Isn't that cool? So that's how we get that union. The word religio, where we get the word religion, means the horse and buggy term for a yoke. The word religion and the word yoga are the same word. And so it's this idea of uniting to who you really are. So I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm religious. Yes, in that sense of the word. So while we don't invoke any particular religion, that word, it's important that we understand. Whatever your connection to the divine is valid and worthy, and we're meant to have different experiences of that. And that experience may change and evolve over time. Some of you may be here and you're like, I don't have any connection to the divine. This is like totally new for me. I have a really bad relationship to the word religion, God, spirit, spirituality. I'm just here because I wanted to, like, get the promises of the webinar, right? And I want to say that's also totally valid. You can do these practices with absolutely no connection to the word God or religion or spirituality at all. And I think that'll make sense in a moment. In other words, there are infinite ways in. So let's do it. Without further ado, let's sit together. So I'm gonna walk you through this path and practice, and we'll give you a PDF of it at the end of the call. So find a position that you think you could be comfortable in for about 10 or 15 minutes. And, maybe again, just taking a moment to turn off anything that might interrupt you. Before you close your eyes, what I'd like for you to do is we're going to go into that orientation a little bit. Let your eyes actually stay open. Let your eyes move around the room that you're in, and it might be outside or inside, it doesn't matter. And notice that, I've been lecturing, you've been listening, and so that's very often like a really strong meaning channel. Let's see if we can get into the part of us that can just sense the quality of the color and light. Distance, texture. Noticing that the body may be attracted to certain textures or colors in your room and repelled by other things like dust bunnies, the stack of bills. Just take a moment to notice, what in my field in the room am I drawn to? It feels good, it feels attractive, and what is like, I don't like that. It takes the brain about 60 to 90 seconds to like really register something. And so choose one object in the room just to let your attention be with that for about 60 seconds or so. And the mind really loves novelty, and 60 seconds may feel like an eternity, but now let your mind go to one more object. See if you can just really be in that space. Good. And then just notice how that just very quick couple minutes of orienting our body, what it starts to do to the body and the mind as you begin to let your eyes close. If that feels okay, you can also keep them slightly opened. But for many of us, closing the eyes will be helpful and resourcing. And then sense any visualization will work, but the one I find really helpful is we spend a lot of our time in our world up and out, and in front of ourselves. And so just going to cultivate energetically the opposite. And remember, the central premise of all of these mystical teachings is that your prana, your energy, your life force, your Holy Spirit, it follows your attention. And so visualize above you almost like a waterfall and just feel it moving down the back of your head, down the spine in your body, and down through the legs and down into the earth. For a few minutes, we're just going to let our attention go from above to our crown, to our throat, to our shoulder blades and the heart, through the back body, all the way lower back, buttocks, down the backs of our legs and calves and shins and ankles and down into the ground. And you can even feel it move down further than your body, like it were going down as far as you can imagine. And then start again. And some of you will move quickly, some of you will go really slow. It doesn't matter. Just continue to move your attention and therefore your prana down, 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 in and down. When the mind goes off into the realm of thinking or images, it's totally fine. Just know that's a different channel and I'm doing something new. This is a new pattern. The new pattern is just in and down myself. Eventually, you won't have to try to move your focus so much. You'll just feel this flow of in and down happening a little more organically. And that might happen for some of you today. It might happen for some of you a year or two from now. It's not a problem. Just a few more rounds, in and down, in and down. And just for a few rounds, can you feel now that you're a little more in and down yourself, maybe moving your attention back body behind you? So we get the sense of the back body, even behind you. Very good. Okay, so now that we're a little more inside ourselves, feel, you can sense the tension and you can imagine this as well, just moving all the way down into the ground. As far as you can imagine, down. And then continue to hold that and then let your mind attention move to the crown and feel, you can even lift your head slightly and it's like attention as far as you can imagine up, but don't lose the down. Now you have up and down. Feel your attention to your right shoulder as far as you can imagine to the right. And then as far as you can imagine to the left, and feel this sense of being in the middle, in the hub of infinite up, down, left and right. The sacred symbol of the cross that is just geometry. And now feel like you can, from this place, call in this, what one of my teachers calls the matrix of support. This might be a particular god or goddess, ally, ancestor, symbol, teacher, angel, whatever you work with. And for some of you, it may be like, I don't have anything, and that's okay. Can you begin to call in a sacred support? Ask it to reveal itself to you. And it may just be this sense of the natural world as a realm of the sacred, the natural life, the truth that you're not here alone, that there is infinite other. Just feel this underlying quality, this sense of the sacred. And another way of accessing it, if you're having trouble, is can you feel a memory when you felt very loved, very seen, or that you were able to love very deeply? And can you get a sense, some of us, if you're like me, I'm very feeling. And so to have the memory of love connects me to that which is everlasting love. If you have a particular god or goddess, let that come. And the mantra is, please come. It's that simple. Please come, and come even closer. And come even closer. Just keep coming in. Come into my thoughts, come into my emotions, come into my physical body. Come into my old tendencies and patterns. Come into my fears and worries and hopes and longings. Just please come. And as you pray that with an authentic heart, I want you to notice if doubt starts to creep in. And as you pray that with an authentic heart, can you feel that something changes? And notice what changes when I really, with a pure heart, ask for support. Now we're going to add in one more element, and that is, can you feel the hub, the real you, the individual you, the one that you call by your name, the center of your being, the realest self? That is the hub. Can you feel you as a unique person? And then the divine all around you. Can you feel that relationship of you to the divine and the divine to you? And when you feel that, you're there. Just enjoy and just rest. Rest in that being loved and worthy and being held. And if you're anything like me, the thoughts will sneak in, and so we come back, and it may be that you repeat this over and over again 1,000 times, coming in and down your body, inviting in the support and feeling the hub, the true nature of you, which is clear and awake and loving, wise. And feel you, and then feel that divine support all around you. And then you can just rest like a baby in her mother's arms, or a baby in his father's arms. If the mind wanders off and you go into the hub, from the hub to the spokes of the wheel, just notice and just say, we're going to come back to the hub for just about a minute or two more. Good. So when you're ready, go ahead and just open your eyes and don't feel that you're leaving. Just feel, okay, this is the eyes open. I can still feel the hub, maybe the support all around me. Letting ourselves come back into orientation, noticing how the practice affected you, and knowing we can come back to it anytime. And so I think this has been just so great and wonderful with you all, and a great way to kick off the year, I know, for me. If you liked that, it's a tiny taste of what we do here and what we'll be doing all year starting in January 12th. I realize that doing a workshop on spiritual practice brings up way more questions than answers. And so I hope you'll join us, where we'll actually have the container to hold you and your inevitable questions and curiosities. I do have Sarah on the call, who is going to come on in just a moment to answer any questions specifically about Ayurveda School, which I've mentioned a few times, which starts January 12th. We would love to have you. She's available. You can also info@theshaktyschool.com is my staff's email. If you have questions, you'd rather write them, that's also fine. And that's really it. I can't really say much more about the school. The information's out there. The syllabus is out there. I think the best thing I can do to really offer a summary of what we do is this practice that we just did together. That's like where everything starts from. And then we learn about our doshas and our gunas and our, mommy and daddy issues and our planets and our gems and our plants and all the yummy spokes of the wheel. But we start from this place, and I can just really feel all of you today, this morning. I can feel your willingness to practice. And I just want to thank you for being here and for taking the time out of your days to be here. And we just, sending you guys tons of love. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And yeah, Sarah will put the links to level 1. We hope you guys join us. I hope I get to see your faces all year at Ayurveda Wednesdays. It's every Wednesday. We kind of have coined that Ayurveda Wednesday. And for me personally, Ayurveda Wednesday, I don't know how I would have survived the past 2 years without it. It's been a cornerstone for just really coming into community and most importantly into these teachings. I feel like I've been given the greatest gift of a lifetime to be able to be a teacher of this, because I need the reminder every single week. I get to be just steeping in these things, and my God, I don't know who I would be without that. And so I thank you all so much. And without further ado, I'm going to wish you all a beautiful new year and bring on Sarah. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Katie. And hi, everyone. I'm Sarah, the programs manager here at Shakti School. I'm going to add a spotlight. I am here to answer any logistics questions that anyone might have about Ayurveda School. If you're thinking about joining, or if you've already joined or taken the program, we would love to hear from you either in the comments, or if you want to come on screen and share your experience, we would love to hear from you. I'll just give it a second and see if I see anything come through in the chat. So as Katie was saying, it's on Wednesdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Everything's recorded and available in the classroom for you a few hours after the sessions end. So no worries if you can't make it live. We have lots of people that attend the recordings only, working or mothers. It's a very flexible program that way. Eva, yes, you definitely still have time to order the manual. All of that information is in the classroom. And if you're having trouble finding that link, just shoot me an email to info@theshaktischool.com and I'll get you all hooked up. And Kat, yes, we will send out the PDF of the structure of the practice via email tomorrow with the recording. Everybody will receive the recording whether you attended live or not. Oh, thank you, Abby, for that. We're excited too. Sounds like Katie's Shift Network class was amazing. Jennifer, if you fell asleep during that practice, that generally means you're moving deeply into parasympathetic. You can learn more about all the nervous system states in Ayurveda School. Yeah, an idea of time commitment is the 3-hour lectures every week. We do have breaks for holiday, and over the summer we have a break, but all the lectures are weekly. And so the 3 hours, you would commit to that. And then generally we recommend about 2 hours a week outside of the lecture time for extra reading and journal reflections, any homework. You don't turn homework into us, it's all for your own learning. But there's also, if you wanted to go even deeper, we provide a lot of extra course material and reading suggestions. If a particular topic is really of interest to you and you want to go even deeper, you could spend 20 hours a week outside of class if you wanted to, but generally 2 hours is a really good rule of thumb. Oh, thanks, Danielle. Second year grad here, worth every minute and every penny. Would love to do it all over again. Eva, the certification is recognized worldwide. The way that Ayurveda works is it's an unregulated industry, and so you're able to legally practice in most countries after you obtain your certification and your own private insurance, and we walk you through all of that. It's a good idea to brush up on laws in your area and your country, but yes, the certification is recognized worldwide. Elizabeth, no, she's asking, did I hear that this is the last year and then next year the course will be different? There's been a little bit of back and forth on whether Katie will be the lead teacher next year. There's no final decisions being made yet, but I would say if you are looking forward to learning from Katie, I would jump in this year for sure. But we plan to do Ayurveda School next year, if that's a question. Yeah. Oh, Raven, that would be amazing if you don't mind. If I can unmute you, that would be incredible. Raven said she'd be willing to share little bit of her experience. Raven, if you're willing to come on camera, we would love that. Just trying to find you. Maybe raise your hand if you could. Oh, I see you. I'm going to ask you to unmute, Raven, if you're okay with coming on screen to talk.
Hello. Oh, it's a little, apologize. It's a little dark. I didn't plan on coming on, but I just thought I would. It might help. So I just finished level 1 from, I ain't fully dressed. I just finished level 1 from last year, and it's been amazing. Like, when I first joined, I didn't think, I knew it had a lot of information, but I didn't realize it was as jammed packed with information as it was. And I'm still catching up on some of it, and I'm going to be doing level 2 this year. But I mean, oh my goodness, level 1 has so much information about, we talk about, again, the basic foundation of Ayurveda, the history. Like Katie was saying, the Vedas, the koshas, basically the different systems in the body. And what I liked about it is because I really love health and learning about different things even before I joined school. And I like how they kind of correlate from like the teachings and I guess in modern medicine to Ayurveda, and even the different bodies of the system that you learn in typical health and how it translates into Ayurveda to help give you a better understanding. We talk about a lot of like you said, mysticism, about the energy bodies, all types of exercises and practices you can do to help as far as meditation. We talk about different mantras, chanting. One of my favorites, because I love herbs before I started, we talk about different herbs and how to use it personally, how to help others with using herbs, the business of even the spiritual aspect of money, business, holding better space for yourself and others, healthier boundaries, the psychology, like she was saying, of how the brain works, the nervous system, how you respond to trauma, childhood. We started talking about yoni steaming. So health of the womb obviously is a big one. What else? Healthy eating. You learn how to do cleanses for yourself and for clients if you choose to. And it's so much I can't even think of off the top of my head. So I just basically to say each module, not only you get the basic, the classes, plus the office hours we do, I think it's like every couple weeks, just if you have extra questions and stuff. But then it's also resources, extra resources they give you for each module that we learn too. So if you want to further your studies outside of the textbook and outside of the manual, get in the classes. So it is jammed packed. So I just want to jump on. Like I said, I'm still catching up because like she was saying too, some of the classes I caught live, but a lot of the classes, just because my schedule got really hectic, I had to do the recordings and catch up on after. So I like the fact that it was like that also. So if you can't catch things live, you can catch up on them after. But yeah, it just, if you're considering it, in which I had considered it for 2 or 3, when it first came out, like 2 or 3 years before last year, I think it's when it first started, and I saw it, I was thinking about it, and I decided to do it last year, and I'm just glad I did. So I didn't plan on jumping on, but I was just like, it might help anybody who's thinking about it. So thank you for letting me speak about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raven. There's no better way to convey how powerful the program is than to hear from people who have taken it themselves. So thank you so much for your bravery and sharing. We really appreciate it. And really enjoyed having you in class last year. And yeah, as Raven said, you know, we bridge a lot of modern science with the deep ancient traditions of not only Ayurveda, but so many other holistic healing modalities. And that's kind of what sets our program aside from other programs, is that we're so much more than Ayurveda. We get deep on the nervous system and biomechanics, the things that Katie talked about today, but also going back to that traditional wisdom of Ayurveda and incorporating all of it. So I see a couple questions come through. It looks like Danielle answered the question about spirit sessions versus Ayurveda School really succinctly, which is that spirit sessions is more of a dip your toes, once a month workshop live with Katie, whereas Ayurveda School is really the deep dive. They sometimes cover the same things, but in Ayurveda School, we go a lot deeper into the foundations of Ayurveda. And when will you be able to take on clients? After you've graduated the program with your first year with your coach certification and obtained your private insurance, then you are able to work with clients one-on-one. So as soon as you pass the course and have your certification in hand, and we get you all set up and ready to be able to work with your clients, and we provide intake forms and marketing and business support as well in order to help you get launched. And then obviously the hive mind of the community of women within the class are really great for being able to bounce ideas off of one another, and they become a really beautiful support for one another as well. The cost is, we offer payment plans. So the full cost is $3,398, and then we offer a payment plan for 24 months for $150 a month, an 18-month payment plan for $199, and then a 12-month payment plan for $298 per month. And I'll make sure to send out links with the recording and the PDF that you'll be receiving. I'll make sure you have links to all of those. Let's see. Lots of gratitude for Raven. Thank you. And some of the additional resources, I think that that's referring to the Ayurveda program. They're specific to module. So for example, in our women's health module, which lasts a month, we give a lot of additional resources and additional reading in order for you to go deeper. If women's health is something that you want to dive into, we go into the spirituality and connection to the moon and provide a lot of other support for that. So it's really based on topic for the additional resources. We do have a community within the classroom that you can chat with each other, make friends. And lots of people choose to do WhatsApp groups outside of that space, but we provide a space within the course where you're able to connect with people on what you're learning and on a personal basis. And yes, the 2 books are required, and it's Dr. Ladd's Volume 1 textbook, and that's the textbook that we use, and then Katie's Healthy, Happy, Sexy, and we provide a manual for you. It's about 270 pages of tons of amazing information and intake forms, things that you'll need to get started on your business. If you choose to use it for business, lots of people choose to take the course for pleasure or their own healing. Sorry, guys, I'm looking through. Thank you so much, Danielle. You are amazing. Thanks for dropping in the links. Lots of gratitude. Thank you. Does anybody else have a question? Anybody want to come on screen or anything else I can answer for you? And if you want to set up a call, I'm going to drop a link in the chat right now. You can set up a call with me or another graduate of the program to discuss if it's right for you at this time. We have 4 women ready to chat and share their experiences and help you through all of the big decisions. Yes, the course counts for 300 hours of continuing education credits with Yoga Alliance. So big chunk there. Great, Kara, we're so excited to get started as well. Amazing. Great, well, that looks to be all the questions. If I missed something, you know, let me know. Otherwise, please shoot us an email, info. Oh, Josh says, how do you break up the hours throughout the course? If that's specifically referring to the continuing education hours, they are split up through all the different categories under Yoga Alliance evenly. And then as far as the course hours, I'm going to drop the syllabus link in the chat so that you can see what the syllabus looks like and how much time you'll be spending on certain topics. And the syllabus can be found on our programs page as well, or just shoot us an email, info@theshaktischool.com, if you need it again or any other information. All right, lovelies. Thank you so much for coming today. We really appreciate you, and hope this got you started on a spirit-infused new year. And please let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to chatting with you on a call or via email and seeing a lot of you starting January 12th. And be on the lookout in your email for that PDF of the practice today, as well as the recording. That way you have it for rewatching whenever you would like. Yes, Cassandra, we would love for you to come on. I'm gonna unmute you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cassandra, and I took last year's course, year 1. And if anyone is thinking of joining in, please do. You will not be disappointed. You will get in touch with your own feminine self. Katie is a wonderful, wonderful teacher. She brings a lot of joy and excitement and enthusiasm to her teachings. Sarah is a great person to be in touch with if you want to know anything. The knowledge from the women who will be teaching you is just expandable. You will be coming from that course feeling more in tune with your authentic self. Thank you for letting me share that with you. Raven said everything. Everything Raven said, I don't have to say that again. She covered a lot of stuff. But if you're thinking of just feeling that woman within, join. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassandra. We really appreciate hearing from you. That's right. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that we hear from people, is that the course really helps more deeply connect to yourself, which is so important, especially as Katie mentioned in this lecture, so many external forces at play, especially right now. That deep connection to ourselves is so important, and finding that space where we always just are whole. Really, the course taps into that. So thank you for sharing that, Cassandra. I really appreciate it. Well, if there are no other outstanding questions, we look forward to being in touch with you all. Let us know if you need anything, any questions at all. And again, I'll be sending out an email with all of the program join links, all of the payment plan options. We have tons of affordable payment plan options. And shoot us an email if you have any questions outside of that, or questions about the payment plans. We're happy to work with you however we can. Thank you all for your time, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Sunday.
फूटे फूल अपन सुखे